The following episode was recorded in front of a live streaming audience on Sunday, June the 7th, 2026.
You know who you are? Steeven is my name. Even Steeven.
Will you say something, Steeven?
Steeven Orhouse Media.
You're listening to the Comic Book Super Show, and this is episode number 5, Courage. Courage. Put him up. Put him up. Isn't that cowardly line? He just wanted courage.
Courage. Mm-hmm.
But he was brave all along.
Yep. He had the courage he needed. He just didn't realize it.
That's right. Put him up. Put him up. Hello and welcome to the Comic Book Super Show. I'm a host. My name is Steeven. And 1,000 miles over there to my right is another host, Mr. Ed Moore. Ed, how's it going?
Pretty good, folks and gentle peoples. Hope everyone is having a good weekend so far. Here in southern West Virginia, we've had excellent weather. We've had the typical summertime, too hot for a fat boy temperatures. So I think summer is finally here. Up to now, we've had up and down. We've had hard frosts. We've had some really cold ass rains. It was very end of wintry more than anything springish, moving quickly into summer here. By the calendar in just a couple weeks. I mean, our cooler, colder springs should be well over by now with summer just about to hit. But no, it just now started being the warm part of spring like this past week. So it's here. We're enjoying it, and I hope it lasts like till this time next year, even though I know it won't.
Yeah, it's been hot here. Not as hot as it will get in the really hot part of the summer, but it's been hot enough that it's still hot. And it's either been hot or it's been raining. And it's like, ooh, rain, it'll cool things down. No, because this is the season where the rain just makes it humid.
Right.
And
it just makes it muggy. So now it's hot and muggy. Your temperature will say, oh, it's 10 degrees lower than it was yesterday. Yeah, but it feels 10 degrees higher than it was yesterday. So it's a pain in the butt. Because now you're walking through a whole ocean hanging in the atmosphere when you go outside. Yeah.
Oh, did you see I got that Golden Age Superman Funko.
Ah, yes. Is it a Funko?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Finally went back and got it.
I see him up there. Yep.
So those are like, you got Frank, the Madman.
Right. Over there.
Superman and Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Those are my top 3.
Oh, well, there you go. That's why they have a place on the top shelf.
And I've got a Wolverine and a Daredevil around here somewhere. I got to get them up there.
Just figures or Funkos?
Funkos. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The Madman's the only figure.
Yeah, I always keep my eye on Funkos in case, something comes out that I like. But with the stuff that I've heard about the company here lately, I'm kind of scared to try to advance order anything like that. Yeah, since last fall, word started getting out that they were in really bad money situations.
Oh, boy.
And then at the turn of this year, they said, yeah, we're in really bad money situations. But yet they keep putting out advanced looks at stuff. I don't know actually in the stores or whatever, because I don't really have too many outlets that I can go physically see to see if there is new product actually coming out.
Yeah.
I assume there is, because I'll see stuff on, I don't know, Amazon when I go, or Big Bad Toy Store when I look at there or whatever. But I've really been afraid with a lot of their advanced solicitations. Maybe there's a figure here or there I'd like to get. And I'm like, even the company has said, yeah, we're having it kind of tough right now. And so I'm like,
well, it doesn't surprise me when they have so much, so many different, very niche things that, I don't know, maybe they only produce a certain amount of them and blah, blah, blah. But it seems like every store that I go into that has anything to do with entertainment, whether it's a bookstore or a comic book store or a music store, there are Funko Pops, and there are always an ass load of them. So I don't know if they, these places just bought a bunch of Funkos and they're just not selling, and so they're not buying anymore until they sell, and that's where the money problems are coming for them.
Right.
But
And you know that every single thing that they put out is not theirs, so they have to pay for the license.
Yeah.
So they are laying out massive money for the 4-figure set of the musical group, or the 5-figure set of the movie actors for the movie, or whatever. It's they got to be paying mad money for the licenses for those things.
Yeah. I mean, that when I got that one on Friday, they also had in the place this big, I mean, it was a big box, and it was Run DMC. It was the 3 guys from Run DMC. Okay. Jam Master Jay had his turntables and everything. It had a whole setup, so it looked like they were on stage. And I saw it, and I was like, oh, that is awesome. I have nowhere to put that. And then I thought, and I bet it's expensive as hell. It was $30. I was really surprised.
That's not bad. One Funko, when it first comes out, could be $30.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Funko officially had to destroy truckloads of excess inventory in an E.T. video game type of event. Well, but now with the E.T. video game, isn't that the one that they buried? And so if you knew, you could go and dig it up. I wonder if you can go and dig up these Funkos, or if they actually burned them or melted them or something like that for the plastic. Because if so, I would go out and try to find where they buried them and dig around and see what I could dig up.
Hell yes.
Yeah.
In case that doesn't come out very well in the podcast, what Ed was saying there, Bill from Long Island over there on the YouTube, he put up a comment that Funko officially had to destroy truckloads of excess inventory in an ET video game type event. So there's like a I think there's a mini-series podcast out there about the ET video game. I think so. Like from the beginning all the way to the end of finding somebody found the stash or something like that. Yeah. All right. Before we go any further, I just want to let everybody know that I have recently gotten a bunch of stickers made for our various podcasts: Superman Super Show, the Comic Book Super Show, Hither Came Conan, another G.I. Joe podcast, and I want to give them away. So for those of you who listen to the Comic Book Super Show, if the device or the podcast app that you use to listen allows you to rate and review the show, or just find somewhere like Apple Podcasts, rate and review the show, send a screenshot to stevenorelse@gmail.com. That will be in the show notes. Don't worry about writing that down. Send me a screenshot with your address, and I will send you out some stickers. If you want to see what the stickers look like, go watch the video that we're doing right now, where we live stream the recording of this episode. Link for that will be in the show notes as well. Be sure to click the link down below. Yeah. Like and subscribe. Smash that bell. That's what they always say on you. Smash it. Smash the bell. Speaking of which, like the episode if you're watching. If you're watching on YouTube, like it, smash it. Don't smash it. You don't want to break anything. Yeah, no, that's just, because then you won't be able to watch the next one, probably. Yeah. That's not what we're after. It seems excessive. We're after long-term viewership, not immediate kind of, Yeah. I liked it so much and I smashed my screen. No, don't do that. All right. Today we're looking at Kitty Pryde and Wolverine #5 for Marvel Comics. This issue sports a cover date of March 1985, though it hit the stands in December of 1984. It sold for just 75 cents, and it is entitled Courage. It was written by Chris Claremont with art by Al Milgrom. The letters were by Tom Orzechowski, and the colorist was Glynis Wein. Kitty Pryde goes to Tokyo and confronts Shigematsu, demanding that he leave her father alone. Then she decides to battle Ogun to the death, as well as change her image and call herself Shadow Cat because of her new ninja abilities. She changes places with Lady Mariko, assuming that Ogun would try to kill her, and she was right. Kitty fights well, but in the end, Ogun tries to control her mind once again, but she resists. And so, as the issue ends, Ogun is about to kill her when Wolverine shows up. Ed, what'd you think? I enjoyed it. I'm glad. I was starting to get, kind of worried about Kitty. She was running into some concerns there by the end of the story, and I kept waiting. It's like, oh, come on, Wolverine. No, page turn. Okay, come on, back and forth. Wolverine, page turn. No, not yet. Okay, come on. So, yeah. So he did, and of course, in true comic book fashion, it was the very last page, which was one panel. So the final panel of the story was where
what had been leading up to the last half of the book occurred. And so you're like, okay,
Yeah. It's weird because I feel like I remember Wolverine being in the entire story way more than he actually is. And I have to keep reminding myself, it's not called Wolverine and Kitty Pryde. It's Kitty Pryde and Wolverine. She's the star. She's got top billing. So not that I mean, it's not that I'm reading it now going, where the fuck is Wolverine?
Right.
Because I'm still enjoying the hell out of it. I just, for some reason, I thought that there was more with him and Ogun fighting than what we'll end up seeing in the final issue. But
sure. I mean, our memory is only 40 years old at this point about this. So it's like, your memory may be leading you wrong a little bit. So
well, and the other funny thing is that for some reason, the moment I started to read this issue, the moment I opened it up and it got to that first splash page, I felt more nostalgic feelings for this issue than I have the other 4 before. I don't know why. Okay. It's like maybe when after it had come out, when I was, however old I was back then, maybe this is one I just read the last 2 over and over or something,
Right.
But
could be.
It was weird because as soon as I opened it up and got a splash page, I just went, oh, I'm back in my bedroom and I'm reading this comic book. So it's fun.
It's funny how, particularly for me, those at that time, handful of X books that were out. Anytime I read those, reread those now, there are bits and pieces of my memory that go back to when, whether it be me or someone I knew, some other aspect of pop culture, and particularly it's things that chances are I haven't really spent any time revisiting.
Yeah.
Otherwise. So it's like, it's brand new revisits of these things that were impacting me, however, at the time that I originally was reading these stories. And so at this time, there's 3 or 4 main X books, and then there's a miniseries here and there. So, I mean, it's a very concentrated offering of things that I can use to remember back. It's not like today that has 50 or 60 X books. And so good luck remembering any of them, much less who or where you were when you read them 40 years from now. I mean, chances are 40 years from now, I could pick up a book and I'm like, I don't even remember this. This came out then?
Right?
Whereas these, because they're so concentrated and focused, it's easier to get back into that frame of mind.
Well, and have you ever, you're reading one of these older books. Have you ever just, from the moment you see the cover or you turn a page or you see a panel and it's like suddenly you get these not just memories, but it's almost like sense memories. It's like when I open this up digitally, even, swiped over to the first page, suddenly I can, it's weird to describe because it's not like I was smelling things, but it's just suddenly my environment, something about the environment felt like there should be tape cassettes laying around and, action figures. And basically it felt like I was back in my bedroom and as a teenager. And it's just weird when that happens.
And that is powerful for something to be able to do at whatever it may be. Primarily on that list of things that people always talk about are songs, music, and lyrics. They absolutely do that throughout your whole life. I mean, you can pick songs, every 10 years of your life and replay it, and there you are, 10 years old, 20 years old, 30 years, So it's I'm getting to the point where I'm enjoying the sensations of doing that more and more.
Yeah.
As I get farther and farther away from that. Not that I necessarily have forgotten or I don't necessarily have a desire to, go back or remember those or whatever. But I do like the aspect that I can go in here and I can pick now a hardbound collection of whatever, open it up and I'm like, this is then, even though it's not, but it's like, no, it is.
It does happen to me more often with music. And it's funny because I'll hear a song and suddenly again, it's the whole tape cassette thing. I can feel I could opening up that tape cassette, the sound it makes, the feel it makes. And there are certain songs that not only do I feel that, I can tell, I got this tape from Columbia House because I'm suddenly seeing a box in front of me with 9 tapes in it, and picking out which one I wanted to listen to first. So I have a habit in my mind, and usually when I'm with somebody, which is typically going to be my wife, when I'm listening to music, I don't do too much when I'm sitting in my office at work or what have you, but I'll hear a song and automatically I start singing the next song on the album or the next song in the tape because that's what comes next. It's, even though it's no, you're listening to a playlist of one song of a whole bunch of different things. And it's but no, the next song was, Yeah. It's been happening to me a lot recently because just a couple of weeks ago, I kind of made this decision. I'm always, because of music services like Apple Music or Amazon Music or Spotify or whatever, it's all I do is make playlists and listen to some of my favorite songs. Bill from Long Island says, involuntary autobiographical memories. Yeah.
Is that a thing, or is that just words that you put together?
Is that an official? But I started thinking about that, and I was I used to just put a tape cassette in the radio and listen to the whole album. So I started going through and listening to the full albums from a lot of the stuff, and Bill says it's an actual thing.
Official thing. Okay.
Yeah. But so there's a lot of stuff that I've only been listening over the last 20 years to maybe 2 or 3 songs off that album all the time. And so I'm hitting songs that's I was driving down Main Street in Eudora, Kansas when I first heard this song, Memories triggered by sensory input, says Bill from Long Island.
Yeah, the brain is a thing, man.
It's crazy.
No wonder it's so easy to for it to be off kilter.
Yeah.
As massively awesome as the things that it can do, it's got to be just a hair's breadth from not being able to do that, or from doing that incorrectly or differently or what have you. So it's no wonder that there are, millions of people that, in all honesty, the way that they experience their reality is different from the way I experience mine.
Yep.
Absolutely no judgment, good or bad, right or wrong, just it's different because there's just this one little thing in the brain that is different between the two of us. And so that makes the difference. Yeah, it's pretty profound, almost I think profound on almost like a religious level, how profound religions are for people. Thinking about what the brain does is just wow.
Yeah,
or as we get older, the things that the brain doesn't do is also,
the things that your brain used to do and just doesn't quite handle very well anymore.
No, it doesn't. I can't do that. Yeah.
The old computer slowed down, and unfortunately we can't upgrade.
No, I can't put in more RAM or
exactly
change the BIOS. If my battery runs out, that's pretty much it. I'll have to figure out how to do without it. And
All right, you want to take us through this issue?
Okay, we'll start here on the front page, on the front cover. We see over here in the corner, about 2/3 of the way down, it's signed by Al Milgrom. So my assumption is going to be that he did pencils and inks if there are both. I don't know necessarily that he would have done the coloring. I don't know that he colors, but so this is all him. Again, we have this concept of a split. Either obviously it's a left or right, but it could also be interpreted as a right or wrong. Could be interpreted as good and bad, whatever dichotomy you want to use. The interesting thing about this cover in particular is that in the background, as you can see, you have the, I was going to say the head, but what is that? Bust? Is that a bust? Yeah.
Yeah, like this from the shoulders up.
Yeah. Of Wolverine in his tan and black costume, which is for me, it's the appropriate Wolverine costume.
Yeah,
I know there are people that like the blue and yellow, and it's okay, no. Tan and black or light and dark brown or however you want it shaded. That's,
It ultimately, like everything else, it depends on what you were exposed to usually first.
Yeah.
I just read a whole article, I can't remember, about the origins of the G.I. Joe movie.
Okay.
And all the crazy stuff that they put in there with Cobra Law and all that junk, and how, there are certain people, anybody who, like my age, typically doesn't like it and think it's crazy. I like it. I've always liked G.I. Joe, the movie. But then people who are a little bit younger, when they came into G.I. Joe around that time, they love it. It's like the Ewoks as well. Okay. Older fans hate the Ewoks, younger fans love them.
Yep. But here we have the head of Wolverine, and he's holding up one hand, and you can see this is the traditional. He has 3 claws, which basically, if you look at your hand, is 1 between each knuckle. So that's why there's 3. He's got the claws extended. Now, the middle claw is basically the line between the 2 sides of the cover. The left side, as we look at the cover, is Kitty Pryde in her Shadowcat outfit, with a scarf that is way too long to be practical and is going to end up breaking her neck. And then on the right side, we have Ogun wearing his demon mask, which we have seen that it's something he can put on and take off. No, we have seen him without it early on, but that was really before we knew who he was. Yeah. So we now know that essentially he's a man and he likes to wear this mask for intimidation purposes when he officially works, whatever, to hide his identity.
That scarf is ridiculous. Why give your opponent something to grab onto?
Not just your opponent, but get caught in a fucking door, get caught in an elevator, get caught that's just...
I will give Kitty Pryde a pass, because even if somebody was to grab a hold of it or she got it caught on a barbed wire fence, she could just phase.
But depending on what she's doing, can she phase fast enough to not break her neck?
True.
It's not like it's going to catch her arm and jerk her. No, it's not only that, but it's probably wrapped around her neck. So if somebody or something were to pull on both sides, it'll constrict, it'll choke. She won't be able to concentrate enough to phase and it'll break her neck. I mean, it's a bad idea. We don't talk as comic book readers very much about the practicality of outfits. It's part of the suspension of disbelief that we have to read comic books and enjoy them to begin with. So, the Psylocke swimsuit wearing ultra ninja-y kind of person operating in the North Pole on a mission. We're like, okay, yeah, that's fine. No, but
the 90s thing with the big shoulder pads, and there are some characters where they just put stuff like right on either side of their head. It's like, how are they seeing to the right and to the left?
Yeah, you have no peripheral vision now. It's easy to sneak up on you behind, or But her scarf just really sticks out to me. I'm like, you can have it long, like maybe up to maybe her elbow, the way this is streaming, which is about half. But that's just So, or just leave it as the Scooby-Doo Fred ascot.
There you go.
There, the white ascot. All right, that's fine.
Or stick some knives on the end of it and then flick them around.
Fling them, and like nunchucks.
Yeah.
And also to finish the pose, Kitty may or may not look like she's attacking. This could be a defensive pose. Ogun is definitely attacking because he's wielding a katana. He has the wakizashi on his belt, which is the other half of the pair that samurai/ninja typically wield. And the pair is called something, but the word for the pair is escaping me. But it's a katana and a wakizashi, I believe, are the names of the swords themselves, and then the pair has another name. My impression of looking at it is Wolverine is looking on, maybe, if you want to look at it like that, or he is part of the story. But the story is going to be about Ogun attacking, and I put up the quotes, Kitty Pryde. That seems to be what this cover is telling me is going to be inside. Now, we will see if that is truly, how much of a connection the cover has to the inside. Up to this point, the covers have been pretty reflective of the story. Even at this time that this came out, that wasn't always the case. So we'll just have to flip through it and see if there's that much of a connection between the piece of art that they used for the cover and what we see inside the story.
Yeah, I'm not one to read into. I can't. I'm not really good about finding messages and whatnot when, hidden meanings behind images and stuff. But I guess if I was, I would look at that and think, all right, we have Ogun attacking Kitty. Kitty's getting ready to defend herself, and Wolverine will eventually get between them. And that's what we see in the issue. Just that when Wolverine gets between them.
It's pretty late
to be continued. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, wow. Okay. So first panel, first page is a entire page panel, a 1-panel page. And it is an older gentleman, which we're told over here in the narration is,
Shigematsu. Heiji, it's Shigematsu.
So it's his company. And so, does it say that? Yeah, down here it says. Okay, down at the bottom, Heiji, I think Shigematsu.
Yeah.
The Oyabun, or the Godfather, the big mucky muck, the head poobah, if you want to use those kinds of terminologies, of the company that Kitty Pryde found that her father, her dad. Ooh, that was no. This isn't Xavier Jean Grey kind of stuff. This is Kitty and her husband. I did it again. Her dad.
That's all right.
Kitty and her dad. Okay.
Kitty and her dad.
Yeah, there you go. And is Kitty's sister's name Benny?
I don't know.
Benny and the Jets.
Benny and the Jets.
So no, I don't think Kitty has any siblings. I don't remember.
Benny.
That's it. So. To start the story off, Kitty found out that her dad was involved with Shigematsu, a bank that he was part of. This is the company that is the holder of the bank. The bank is part of his company, and that's the whole reason why Kitty is where she is. So she has gone back to visit him again, the man who is responsible for the ill that has fallen upon her dad, trying to sever, however she can, and I guess being a ninja, that's probably the appropriate term, sever that relationship between this evil man and her dad. She's doing it in an effort to protect her dad, but also try to get normality back to things, the way it was supposed to be back when she, is thinking about her dad rather than all this current stuff that shows him maybe as not being what she thought he was, and he's wrapped up with bad people and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
A very standard kind of story trope for a child in a pop culture medium that finds that one of their parents is doing things that perhaps aren't good.
Yeah.
And that's how the child tries to help, is to intercede and sever that so that things can go back to the way they were. So she does that, threatens Shigematsu, then phases away before he can do anything physically, before he can really defend himself. She comes on like a ghost. She's dressed like a ninja. So that's kind of playing on his folk tale side of things and maybe an aspect of the Japanese culture that he's familiar with. So she is speaking his language.
Yeah.
Threatens him, tells him to stop, and then phases away and drops down a floor or two out of the office that she was, which is her mutant power, which is why she's an X-Men, yada, yada, yada. And as we go forward, there is so much more, if you haven't listened to past episodes, that we could go back about these characters and the story and things like that. So if I seem to be going back and forth a little bit too much, I find that I'm going backwards and I want to stop before I go all the way. And then, because we're talking about this issue, but you can still, and I don't mean to try to scare anybody off that wants to pick this up now and read it. I certainly would recommend that you read the entire mini, not just issue 5. Right. Everything really that you need to know is in the mini series.
Oh, yeah.
There are avenues that you can take for a whole bunch of background information outside of that, as far as the characters and the situations. But this story is complete, and just definitely don't just pick up 5, or because you hear us, pick up 5 and 6. try to get all 6 of the books and get the complete story.
The Comic Book Super Show will return after these messages.
In a world where there's often 60 plus years of history to worry about, how can you quickly get into a new comic character or franchise? If you're like me, then you turn to video games. But how well does that work out? In some cases, pretty well. In others, it's a giant disaster. But how can you know which games will set you on the right path and which games will just leave you more confused than you were before? Play Comics is the show for you. I'm Chris, and each episode we take a look at video games based on comic properties and how well they stick to that source material. So listen in and get the scoop on which games are worth your time over at playcomics.com or wherever you find your favorite podcasts.
Hey there, comic fans and children of the 80s. My name is Steeven, and I would like to invite you to join me on another G.I. Joe podcast. If you grew up yelling, "Yo, Joe!" or flipping through dog-eared issues of G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, this is the show for you. Each episode, we're tackling one issue of the classic Marvel comic series, starting all the way back in 1982. We'll break down the stories, the artwork, the characters, the wild twists, the covert missions, everything that made this series one of the most surprisingly rich comic runs of the decade. We'll follow the rise of Snake Eyes, the schemes of Cobra Commander, the battles, the vehicles, the ninjas, the chaos, and the totally over-the-top, totally awesome storytelling that defined 80s action. Whether you're reliving your childhood or discovering these comics for the first time, I'm here to guide you through it all with excitement, insight, and plenty of nostalgia. So grab your gear and join the team, because the mission begins now. Yo, Joe! And now back to the Comic Book Super Show. Yeah, I don't think I started reading X-Men until after I read this miniseries.
Oh, okay.
So I came into it without a lot of knowledge on what was going on, and I like it just fine.
Was this the reason that you wanted to read X-Men after you read this, or what, were there other? Okay. Yeah. Well, it's a pretty good, particularly Kitty. I want to see what she's like now, since she wasn't like this, and then after this miniseries, she's this different aspect of herself. Well, I'd like to follow that. Wolverine, who is this dude and what's he doing? That's like all kinds of major story you could go on. Lady Mariko, the Japanese aspect of Wolverine's life, but it kind of has a life of its own, is something that you could read about. So yeah, there's a lot of off-road you could take just from this one miniseries in 1985-86.
What's funny though, knowing that when I first read this, as a young teenager, hadn't read any X-Men before, followed along fine, nothing, I didn't get tripped up on anything, really liked it. When I'm reading it, when I was reading this issue, when we get to this part where they bring Lady Mariko into it, I almost felt like, wow, they just drop her into this as if we're supposed to know who she is.
Yeah.
And I found that kind of weird, that back then I didn't care. But
okay, yeah. And but, I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that at the time, the writer of this miniseries was the same person that was writing the X-Men. So by this time, all of this stuff was just second nature to him. He thought about different aspects of this for years, and he's finally getting it down. And it's like his, at this time, I believe the editor was Jim Shooter, and I believe it's Jim Shooter that I always think first said every issue is somebody's first issue in editing his creator's output. That was something that he says he always kept in mind and always tried to tell them. So sometimes that works, sometimes the concept doesn't. Nowadays, if you read an X book, there's no way that you can keep that in mind, because there's just too much and it just goes everywhere. Here, they've only been going strong since 82 that the new X-Men came. I forget when that happened, with Giant Size, and then X-Men 94, 97. No, 82 sounds too late.
feel like it was really late, like 78, 79, somewhere
or
around
maybe
there.
75, maybe 75,
much
76.
earlier. Yeah.
So, yeah, basically, we'll say you've got about 10 years of X-Men, and most of it is just X-Men. There's not been, at the time this came out, I don't believe there's been any offshoots other than maybe a miniseries here and there, not like X-Force and Factor and Uncanny and Adjectiveless X-Men and Excalibur and all of that comes much later.
Had New Mutants even started at this point?
I believe so, but just recently, not too long ago. So I would say New Mutants probably had 3 or 4 years going at this point, which the crossover between the two, though, wasn't really heavy. You could honestly read the two books by themselves and not have to read the other book to know what was going on because they didn't cross over very much. That graphic novel that started the New Mutants, there was a lot of connective tissue there. Mm-hmm. The fact that the New Mutants lived in the same building as the X-Men, so you would see maybe one or the other a character from one of the groups in a story, and that was about it. There wasn't too much of, well, really to understand this, the narrator says we need to see issue this of the other book. That didn't really happen too much early on. Now, the longer that New Mutants were out there, of course, Marvel as the company realized that those suckers out there will buy both books if you tell them they need to buy both books. And so it got to be more and more.
Yeah. Okay. But before we move on, I do just want to say that this little sequence here is I just love it so much. I like to imagine if this was a movie or a TV show, we would have actually started with just Shigematsu at the desk, doing his thing, calculating whatever he's doing, writing a letter, and then her coming up would have been like a jump scare. Boo! But just the way she comes up out of the desk, as soon as she's clear of the desk, she's no longer phasing. She grabs him, keeps going, uses the momentum to push him and the chair back. So he lands on his back in the chair. And then as soon as they hit the ground, bam, she phases through him and through the floor and escapes. And the whole time she's like, mess with my dad again, I'll kick your ass. I like the way it flows. I would really like to see this in animated or live action form at some point.
Animated, they could definitely pull it off. Yeah. Live action, we'd have to see. But yeah, in animation, you could easily pull this off. She jumps up through the desk and then she's kind of sitting on the desk, holding him backwards, but not letting him fall, giving her the chance to talk to him. Yeah. And then when she's done, she basically, pushes him or lets him fall, lets his weight carry her. And then to finish the scene, as everyone falls to the floor, she uses that momentum to just carry her through, phasing through him. So it's like just this one big motion up through the desk, grabs him, pushes him off balance, talks to him. You almost can see her shaking him, talking shit. And then she pushes him on over and uses that momentum to carry the circle where she goes on around and through him and she's gone. Yeah. I don't know, 10 or 15 seconds maybe total of almost just enough that you're like, did this happen or did I imagine and push back and I just fell on my own or what? Because she's not going to leave really anything behind. Yeah. I mean, she phased up and out. So if you look for evidence of what happened, dude's not going to find any. The police aren't going to find any or whatever. So if this was live action or animated, it's almost like the sequence could be bookended by this quiet moment at the beginning where he's just doing his work at his desk. Then suddenly, boom, rah, yelling, rah, and then she's down. Then she's gone, and then it's just him again. And he's laying there, some papers fluttering, falling off the desk as as he threw up what he was looking at, and maybe some of the papers are still fluttering down there at the end. Yeah. Nothing else is going on, right? The papers and him laying there wondering what the hell just happened.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. That would be good to see, particularly live action. They definitely could pull it off in anime, but live action, that would be awesome to see. Yeah. With, I don't know, somebody like Black Widow or, anyways. The Ghost, right? The Ghost is, who is that? The Thunderbolts, the Thunderbolts character, the Ghost.
Yeah, but we're getting X-Men into the universe, so into the MCU.
Yeah, maybe so, yeah. So she phases down a floor or two, just depending on how much momentum she had. And then she decides that she's going to go ahead and leave. And so she phases out, airwalking, she calls it, through the window. And she is like floating however many stories up. There's no, other than being able to breathe, there's no negative to how high she can go. It doesn't really matter. And the only thing, of course, about breathing is maintaining her concentration, because she has to concentrate to phase. She has to phase to airwalk. And so basically, I guess what she does, I don't know. I can't even necessarily in my brain explain it, but she will walk. She can walk horizontally, from like building to building, but she can also go down like she's on stairs, and she could ultimately end up on the ground. I don't know what the difference is in the application of the powers to be able to do that. That's science beyond my understanding. But she finds that she loses concentration here. And of course, in losing concentration, she becomes 100% normal flesh and blood, which typically just does not float. So she starts to seriously not float. To the tune of, I believe, 32 feet per second squared. So that means for every second that you fall, your speed doubles. 32, 64, 128, et cetera, as far as how fast you're falling. So that's why it's not the falling that gets you. It's the sudden stopping at that speed. That's normally what the problem is. So now she finds herself falling, and you can see in this one panel, she's scrunching up her face, trying to concentrate really, really hard, which to me is like, okay, that means that when you hit the ground, you'll just go right through it. But you already have this type of momentum built up. And I don't know how phasing necessarily is going to stop the momentum unless you phase enough that you become like smoke and the wind just like dissipates your body, which is an issue Kitty faces in her career farther down the road. But so I don't assume or presume to necessarily understand physics, but I think I understand enough to know that once your momentum, particularly in gravity, starts going in a certain direction at a certain speed, you have to unmomentum in order to stop it. You have to reverse the momentum. You can't just change your state. And
anything in motion tends to stay in motion.
Yep, a body in motion tends to stay in motion. So, and she is in motion very, very fast. And
plummeting.
Who knows? I mean, the way this is, it takes her several seconds to reassert her phasiness. So she's going 400 or 500 miles an hour by this point. I mean, she is zooming. So she does manage to reassert control over her phasiness, and she stops. I don't know that it works that way, but okay. Stops almost right in front of a police helicopter. And so now everything was going good. She had one witness to what was going on, Shigematsu, who may or may not, he's going to believe what his eyes saw him because he knows. But arguably, convincing someone else that he's not going to really be able to convince them of what happened. Nobody is seeing her do anything, phasing down through the building, into the air walking, all of this, until suddenly this helicopter probably saw her drop into visibility. So she was up above them, dropped down, reasserted control over her phasiness, and just stopped and is hanging there. And then the helicopter pilots are like, hey, do you see that? What is that? Is that a person just kind of chilling there in the air? So.
Yeah, this is still that time in Marvel Comics where even though they have been publishing stories with these heroes since the 60s, the world itself, I think, is still fairly new because you still have people who get surprised when they see somebody flying or, there was an Avengers issue that I was reading from around this time where somebody's like, why are you walking around in your pajamas and stuff like, it's like nowadays you'd think that they would just be used to seeing all that. But this was still a time where they wanted us to believe that it was still fairly new to see somebody floating in the air like that.
So we have, this is kind of, I guess the comedic relief aspect of the story or of this issue. The two pilots go back and forth, and we see Katie. She gives them a wave, and then she drops from sight, which I guess what she does is decreases her phasiness to where she's more solid. And so her weight continues to pull her down in gravity. She's not confused as much now. So I guess she's a lot more able to turn it on and off now that she realizes what is going on. She's in control. So I guess she gets more solid, drops, but then we see as it gets close to the ground, she phases again because she phases through an overhang of a building and then through the street, dropping into the subway area of Tokyo, which I think is where they are, but becomes solid enough to land on the subway platform. So she's very much controlling her phasiness. And of course, anybody in the podcast can't see, but I'm moving my hands on kind of an on and off kind of aspect. Like the phase was on and then she lost it and the phase was off and she fell and then turned it back on to hover, saw the helicopter, turned the phasiness back off to drop some, but maybe, just a little bit. And then she turns the phasiness on as she's getting down to go through the building and the street. And then she turns the phasiness off and becomes solid and kind of alights on. And that's the way it looks. It's a very gentle alighting onto the platform where she's solid again.
And she's got enough control over it that she somehow manages to leave the ninja outfit in the half in and half out of the
She
ground level that she
turns off the phasiness to all of her outside clothes, and so the outer layer becomes solid, gets trapped in the roof of the subway as she phases through, and so when she touches down, she's in her more normal outfit, still with this long ass scarf, and she already left one scarf up here with her ninja outfit, so she's wearing two long scarves. Yeah. Anyways, so.
It's too many scarves, Kitty. Two is too many.
Really. She goes to the bathroom and puts on some makeup to kind of a 80s, 90s new wave kind of makeup thing. It's part of her shadow cat persona. She always wears like you would a mask, only it's makeup that she's put around her eyes, almost like the Green Lantern, just across the eyes kind of mask.
Yep.
I can't necessarily think of who in the Marvel Universe does that.
Green Arrow during the Mike Grell days, his were like that. It wasn't it wasn't like one big domino mask. There were two separate bits, one on each eye.
Well, I wonder if he
kind of what it looks
used
like.
some kind of makeup also, rather than like
he
a mask.
Probably did.
So she does that. Disguises, I guess, herself from being Kitty Pryde, in case somebody is looking for Kitty Pryde. I mean, she was the ninja, right? She ditched it, and now she is un-Kitty Pryding herself because she ditched the ninja stuff. So she puts on some makeup, and I guess, I don't know, kind of like in one movie I saw where people had a hard time with facial recognition cameras working on them because they had tats on their face, and it really threw that off. So maybe this is what she's doing. People visually will have a hard time remembering her from being a person or this thing that had this blue eye makeup on, and that's So she does that, gets on a train. We get a really cool ad for Marvel Star Comics in the issue, which I really, really enjoyed. Star Comics was cool. Back at this time in the middle 80s, it was Marvel's attempt to truly make kids' books.
Yeah.
And they had a whole line of, most of them were licensed characters that they licensed children's characters from outside and did comic books for them. Ewoks, you mentioned Ewoks earlier. Ewoks was a book that they had. Yep. C-3PO and R2-D2 was a book they had. But yeah, Star Comics, cool stuff.
Yeah, we'll see the ad here in a bit.
Got him into trouble with, what was his name? Royal Roy. They got in trouble with Royal Roy when they produced that book. Yeah, because it was so much like Richie Rich.
Is my video moving for you? Because it is not. It's frozen.
It is frozen, but your audio is coming through just fine.
Okay, well, I'm not going to worry about it then.
So, okay. So now let's see. Kitty is in the subway going. I don't think she says really. Perhaps going to wherever she's hanging out, because she was hanging at with Wolverine at his former betrothed's castle, Mariko. Bill says that it's
Bill
frozen.
says it's frozen too, yeah.
So, but she wanted to get away from Wolverine because she had to find herself after what Ogun did. And so she's living, I don't know, she's living in the hotel room her and her dad set up when they first came. Yeah, I don't know, but she's going somewhere. And this is kind of a, what is this, one page? Yeah, kind of a one-page replay of Kitty, where Kitty was and where Kitty is now, and a kind of a real quick refresher of the story too. Actually, this miniseries, the first 4 issues up until now, with she breathes on the window and draws a picture of her Shadow Cat persona, which is where she is. The previous panels, which I like because it's a quasi take on the 9-panel grid, and I've become a big fan of the 9-panel grid, but nothing in my mind overly poignant if you have read all of the issues up until this story. Certainly nothing poignant if you know the history of Shadowcat and Wolverine before the miniseries. So that is mainly for newer people, probably particularly for people that are just reading this miniseries. It's kind of a summation of everything up to this point, both big world, but also this miniseries story. Yeah,
and maybe it's on the next page where I don't see it here, because she does mention when she's deciding she's going to become Shadowcat. Oh, there it is. Second to the last panel. Suits me better than Ariel or Sprite. I at the time that this came out didn't realize that she had been called. That didn't dawn on me that those were other superhero personas for her before. So to me, this miniseries I assumed was like almost like her origin.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like she was a member of the X-Men, but she was just Kitty Pryde, and she just tagged along with them and stuff. And now she's an official superhero, Shadowcat.
Okay, so we go back to Owasenmayaku. Yeah, I butchered that, and I apologize. Basically, it's Mariko's ancestral fortress, the woman that he knows in Japan, and he is staying at her family's house, basically on family property. Clan Yoshida, we see a reference, although she doesn't necessarily play a big part. Instead, a girlfriend, shall we say, and using that term loosely, of Wolverine, as far as female, plays more of a part in the story than Mariko Yoshida does, which is where they're staying and basically is Wolverine's connection to anything he does in Tokyo. He probably gets information from Mariko's people, if he needs intel or what have you. And whereas Yukio, who is the quote unquote girlfriend, she's not, girlfriend is even too strong a word for their relationship, but she is there with him, and she is, it almost seems to me that she is Wolverine's yin to his yang as far as responsibility. What he needs to do and why he needs to do it. Wolverine is very specific in his thinking about issues like that. And Yukio is very not specific about how she thinks of things like that. She's a very much a fly-by-night or a care, not a ne'er-do-well, but a care-do-well. Or, all of these, she's very flippant about how she lives her life, and so what she feels is expected of her from herself is very small. Basically, she truly believes she can do whatever she wants to, however, whenever. Steven, are you still there, or did you go completely? So maybe I'm here by myself, and I guess we will see if Steven is going to pop back into the live, and we'll see what he does. I also have a chat here that he can chat to me if he needs to. So I guess I will continue on and see what happens. If we have to go back over this, that's fine. So some pretty cool scenes. The Clan Yoshida fortress is on top of a mountain, very close to the edge of the mountain. So when you go to look at, Bill says I'm not alone. Thank you, Bill. When you look out off of the out of the building, it's right on the edge of the mountain, so you can see. I'm sure the vistas are beautiful. It's wintertime, so there's snow everywhere, all on the mountain, on the patio that they're on, the trees that they use as background. Wolverine's out here smoking his normal cheroot. I assume that's what it is. I don't know if it could be just a cigarette. But he's talking to Yukio, and they're going back and forth about what Wolverine's place is what he should do, and then Yukio's place is that sounding board as to why. Why is that what you should do? Why do you feel that's what you should do? Here's a private chat from the Steeven. I'm going to back out and come back in. Hopefully it won't affect the entire live stream. Okay, well, we will see that. Oh, and he commented here in the main chat, I'm going to back out and come back in. Hopefully it won't affect the entire live stream. That is my co-host, Steeven, who is currently experiencing technical troubles of some nature. And we will all collectively see if what he is attempting to do truly will work or not. I do not know with StreamYard how viable things like that are. Oh, wait a minute. I see something. The window that had the covers and the pages has gone down, but I see the live stream ticker is still counting, so live stream is still recording me. So, look around. Okay, so interrupting Wolverine and Yukio is Kitty's dad, and he comes out rather upset because he feels that Wolverine is not doing enough to find his daughter, which let's all step back and recall that anything that is going on with his daughter is because of him. So he is the cause of the problem he feels Wolverine is not solving to his standards, to the way that he would solve the problem, like he even knows at this point how to solve the problem. He got into this problem because he doesn't necessarily think clearly. Oh, I see. Oh, there is Stephen Orr's smiling face popping back in.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. So we have audio and video.
Yeah.
All right.
It's what I get for trying to use a different webcam.
Ah, okay. So thank you, Bill. Apparently it looks like from what I see, everything is working correctly. I'm moving. I'm assuming you can hear me. Steven is moving and he could hear me when we were conversing. And now we have our pages back on the display. So the return of Bop, bop, bomb.
So for those of you listening to the episode, I don't know what I'm going to do when I edit this together.
I kept talking, so that may have been problematic. If you want, we can go back to when you dropped out and you can cut that part. Well, it's live broadcasting, people. This is the issues, This is why everybody at CBS is getting fired, because they can't deal with this. No, I'm kidding. Right. That is not at all why they're being fired. So, and there you go. So there is a nice big fat date for this episode. If anybody is following popular culture, you understand the CBS thing, and I just mentioned it. So you can't get rid of that.
Yeah.
Okay. So we are on the next page or two. So we're in the midst of this, Wolverine, you need to fix my problem, which is funny because it's like, well, you caused the problem and you're fussing at somebody else because they're not fixing it fast enough or correctly or whatever. Well, Yukio kind of realizes that as well and confronts him about, who the heck do you think you are, bitching at Wolverine about the fact that he is or is not cleaning up your problem appropriately, yada, yada, yada. Wolverine, calls his guard dog down and says, it's okay. I understand. He's concerned. I'll go and, take care of and do what I can do now. Not, and we realize not necessarily because her dad prompted him, but just because Wolverine feels inclined to try to fix the problem. It's his protege in Kitty. Yeah. And what are you doing, cat? Sorry, guys. My cat is being rambunctious over here.
Got a comment from, at Jeff02475898. Hello, new to this show.
Hello, Jeff02475898. Good to have you.
Do you mind if we just call you Jeff?
Yeah, can we shorten that and use Jeff? So now we cut to, now here we're starting to get a little bit deeper cuts into the Wolverine mythos. Big Jeff. Okay,
Big Jeff is fine.
Yes, okay, let me write Big Jeff down so I try to remember that.
Big Bad Jeff.
Big Jeff. Okay. This scene, I understand on the backside after having gone through this portion of the story why this is here. I didn't understand the jump cut to this scene with these two particular characters at the time. But what we see is we have gone from the Yoshida clan stronghold on, I don't know, the outskirts of maybe Tokyo, maybe another city, because they fly to Tokyo. So that makes me think they're off away somewhere. To downtown Tokyo, where we see maybe for the first time in this story, Lady Mariko. I'm not sure if we've officially seen her yet.
This is the first time.
So this is Lady Mariko. This is the living namesake of the clan. All of her male, we'll say progenitors, if that's even the appropriate word, have died. Her dad, uncles, and she is the oldest of the clan. So that means Billy Dunleavy. Hey guys.
Big Bill. Got Big Jeff, now Big Bill.
That means that all of the clan doings and responsibilities and what have you fall on Mariko.
Can I just say real quick?
No, yeah, go ahead.
We already had a Big Bill. I forgot that. Sorry, Bill from Long Island. I don't want to make you feel like you're not a Big Bill either. Big Bill, Big Jeff, Big Billy. That's what we'll do. Sorry. I just stepped all over the podcast.
It would have bothered Steven for the rest of the recording. So
it would have. I would have reached out to Bill from Long Island. I would have reached out to him afterwards. Hey, I'm really sorry.
You would have hesitated here and there as that thought popped into your head when you got ready to say something. It's like, no, take care of it, man. Get it done.
Jeff asked, we talking X-Men 118?
Actually, we are talking issue 5 of the Kitty Pryde Wolverine miniseries, the first one. From, what was it, Steven, 1985? 1986? In there somewhere.
80, where'd it go? 84.
84, okay. So
December of 84. So
this is in approximately the area of X-Men 180s, mid to late 180s. Yeah. So that's when we're talking as far as the main X-Men book.
The Comic Book Super Show will return after these messages.
Across the DC multiverse, countless worlds exist in parallel, each with its own history, its own heroes, its own destiny. I'm DC Dave, and this is Infinite Earths, a guide to the DC multiverse, a travel log and field guide to the worlds beyond the familiar. Each episode, we chart a different Earth, exploring its origins, its defining stories, and the cosmic architecture that shaped it. From the earliest multiverse experiments to the mythic forces that rewrote reality itself, every world has a place on the map. The horror is waiting. Join me. Let's explore.
Step into the savage world of the Hyborian Age and journey through a land of sorcery, steel, and epic adventure with me, Stephen Orr, on Hither Came Conan. Together we'll explore the legendary Conan the Barbarian comic series from Marvel Comics, starting with the groundbreaking first issue from 1970 and working our way through each epic tale, one issue at a time. Along the way, I'll also dive into any other Conan comics I can get my hands on, because when it comes to the titular Cimmerian, there's no such thing as too much adventure. Whether you're a diehard Conan fan or just discovering the greatest barbarian of all time, this podcast is your gateway to the blood-soaked battlefields, treacherous kingdoms, and forgotten treasures of Robert E. Howard's timeless creation. New episodes are packed with action, insights, and a little humor, all dedicated to the world of Conan and the creators who brought him to life on the comic book page. So sharpen your swords and subscribe to Hither Came Conan today on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, or wherever you get your podcasts. Crom demands it.
Into the boat!
And now back to the Comic Book Super Show.
Okay, so, as far, no, I don't need to do this because it doesn't necessarily play a part in the story. So let me rewind that thought. This is Lady Mariko. She is the governess of an orphan. That is Akiko. Akiko is no blood familial relationship to anyone in the X-Men. In a previous X-Men story, in some issues where the X-Men were trying to rescue people in Tokyo because of some goings-ons, Akiko and her mother became trapped, and in saving them, they got to them, the X-Men got to them in time to save Akiko, but they did not save her mother. So Akiko was an orphan because of issues surrounding what the X-Men were doing. They were doing the appropriate thing, but it's one of those kind of fallout kind of things like you see came up in the Avengers movies eventually, where the government came down on them for the death and destruction, where they were trying to prevent death and destruction, valid. I mean, there are valid concerns. I think in real life you end up having to weigh, if not what would have happened, as opposed to what did happen that we do know of. So, and so Wolverine felt responsible for Akiko because he was there when her mom died. It wasn't necessarily his fault, but he took her in. But of course, he is the adventuring Wolverine, Logan from America, so taking on an orphan girl would have been very, very difficult for her as much as for him. So Mariko steps up and says, instead, why don't you leave her with me? I don't have necessarily all these other things going on. I don't have a husband that I have to worry about. I don't have children that we have to blend in. I can take care of her. So Akiko stays with, and throughout the run of X-Men moving forward from here as well, grows up with the Lady Mariko in Mariko's household. Now we will see Akiko on and off moving forward, just like we will Mariko moving forward. All of them typically having to revolve around Wolverine somehow. So he is the contact point between the X-Men and this aspect, Tokyo, Mariko, Akiko, of Wolverine's life. So
okay.
So that's where we are. We're looking in, and it's not been too long, I think, at this point since Akiko has gone to live with Mariko. I think it's still a newish kind of relationship. And you can kind of see that because they're very loving, friendly here. Not that that's bad, but I just think over time there would be a normalcy that wouldn't necessarily be that affectionate. And that's just, that's a human thing. A lot of people do, that. Think of husbands and wives. The affections get to be not so much outwardly, but by things that they do without having to say, this is me being affectionate, Mm-hmm. So this is still the stage in their relationship where you can very much see that the effort is being made, particularly by Mariko towards Akiko, to be affectionate. And so Akiko wants to do more free, childish kind of things. And Mariko is telling her, well, not necessarily that I mind doing those things, but I have these other responsibilities that I have to be sure to take care of, but I also have to maintain this particular image as being the Oyuban, to throw out that word, of the clan Yashida, which Mariko now is. Also, just popped into my mind, for those of you that are familiar with the character Silver Samurai from the Wolverine side of things, and actually he made a big appearance in the second Wolverine movie or one of those.
I think so.
He is a Yashida as well. He turns out to be Mariko's
uncle,
nephew, or whatever. Her dad's brother is the Silver Samurai's, I believe his name is Kenji. His father, I think, is Mariko's dad's father. So that would be like a
cousin.
Something like that. Although he is not apparently connected enough because he was never considered to be Oyuban like Mariko was. I guess because it's a direct lineage. Her dad was in charge, so she is the next. And then maybe if she doesn't do it, maybe then it would pass laterally over to Kenshiro or something like that. But Silver Samurai, who will start appearing more whenever Mariko does, they're in the same Mariko's uncle, I thought. Okay.
That's Jeff. I'll look it up.
So Silver Samurai is her uncle, so that would be her dad's brother. Okay. That's possible also. But he doesn't play a part in this. It's just something that I thought I would throw out to be kind of a touchstone to try to tie some of these things together as people read other stuff. Ultimately, what we're seeing here, what's going to happen is these two characters, Akiko and Mariko, are being introduced physically. Now, I say that because Mariko has been introduced conceptually as far as it's her family's home where everybody is kind of stationed and working out of because she and Wolverine have a thing.
According to Wikipedia, he is the illegitimate son of Lord Shinjin.
That's her dad.
The half-brother of Mariko Yashida.
So it's a half-brother. And that's also why he would not be considered outright to run things, because he's illegitimate. And yeah, you okay. So
cousin
it's
of Sunfire?
Her brother, in essence, is what he is. Okay.
Yeah, half-brother, yeah.
Closer relationship than what I was thinking. But Mariko and Akiko are being introduced because they're going to be used for leverage. So we see a little bit of the story between the two of them. It's not really explained there, and I don't really think too much it's explained throughout the rest of the story how or why that would be used as leverage against Wolverine.
Yeah.
It's implied. And if you know the outside of this story background of Wolverine, you absolutely know how and why that leverage would be applied. But I thought it was kind of lacking by the end of this story, the way that those characters are used. And
Agreed.
If you didn't know, you would certainly be left wondering, well, Wolverine's a nice guy, so he's going to care on that level. But it's like, but why would he really care? What difference does this, So, and that explanation of Akiko and Mariko, that's why I did that, because then when you see that pressure is applied, why Wolverine is going to react the way, say the things, whatever that he does. So here is another instance of what I was saying. Narrator tells us later that night aboard a Yashida private biz jet. Okay, they're flying to Tokyo, presumably from the clan Yashida stronghold. So obviously, I mean, look at that thing. That's an airliner. That's a huge. So obviously, that's how far away the Yashida estate is from Tokyo. I mean, far enough that it's worth taking a big ass plane. Yeah.
So because one of the previous issues, that was something that you had brought up, because right after Kitty Pryde stabs Wolverine, and then they drive him to they seem to drive him to the castle, because they arrive at the castle in a car and he's bleeding out and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So maybe they just left out the fact that they had to jump on a plane to get to an airfield, and then the car that they're taking in that issue is between the air, because
Still, that whole thing about how they handled Wolverine's injuries, you're like, is there not a hospital closer that you could really take him to get the help, rather than, I don't know, halfway across Japan to what it's like? Yeah. So here they're going to Tokyo, and it's Wolverine. It's his current Japanese paramour. Whenever he's in Tokyo, this is his paramour. When he's not in Tokyo, he's got a different paramour. It's
got a lady at every city.
Yeah, and I don't say that in a bad thing.
Right.
Both of these characters understand the nature of that relationship. They're not. It's not. He's not treating her badly like that sounds or anything like that. It's it's one of the. Got to be careful here. It's one of the aspects of being in Tokyo that he enjoys while he's in Tokyo, and that's Yukio's companionship. When he's not in Tokyo, Yukio isn't there, so he is not able to enjoy her companionship. We'll just, so yeah. But yeah, like you said, a girl in every port. That's very much how this feels.
Yeah.
And Kitty's dad. I mean, I guess it wasn't bad enough that he was giving Wolverine grief. Now he wants to tag along and make sure that Wolverine does help his daughter, like Wolverine said he would, like Dad feels that he should, or whatever,
Yeah.
Dad should really have been made to stay home, because he's not going to help any situation that they find themselves in. He's not going to be a benefit to them. So, and actually maybe in some ways it's even a situation where it will split Wolverine's attention, in my mind, as I'm reading this, if he is out and about with them, because Wolverine will have to look for Kitty. He's going to have to be looking for Ogun wherever he is. He's going to have to watch out for himself, maybe watch out for Yukio, but he probably doesn't have to do that to him. And watch out for Kitty's dad, who is just dragging around, getting in the way, So he should have cut bait and left her dad at home. And these 2 pages are, I don't know. I guess you would have to put this under character development.
Big Jeff says, I agree. Dad is a liability.
He just 100% is.
It's like whenever I watch a movie that had like Jurassic Park, for example, they can't make a Jurassic Park movie without involving kids. And I'm always like, God, just get the kids. The kids are screwing everything up. You know?
Don't let them out in the cars by themselves.
Yeah.
Don't,
The kids, people would, well, they're kids. Yeah, but they always make the wrong decisions in those movies.
Yeah.
It's like the adult will say, stay here, do not leave. And then five seconds later, they're like, we need to, let's go.
Of course, at this point in my movie consumption history, I understand and have to verbally say, well, I understand they're doing that to further the storyline.
Right. Yeah.
Because there is no logic to it at all. None. So the only reason would be, well, because they needed kids to get out there and get in trouble, to get the hero to rescue him. I'm like, okay. Because
they need the conflict.
Otherwise, they're being stupid.
Yeah.
Or worse than stupid, they would only do this one time. And then they would not be around to do it again, Yeah,
so, but then, of course, they always have to have the kids save them at one point.
Right.
So they're more than just there to get into trouble. Then okay, well, it's a good thing they were there,
Yeah.
Dumb. Just storyline.
Just to further the storyline. Okay.
Such a curmudgeon.
So, these next 2 panels are just, we're getting some insight into Wolverine. We're getting some insight into Kitty's dad and the reversal, perhaps, of his feelings or his thoughts about who he was and what he needed to do before Kitty found out that he was going bad to now. Well, his daughter's disappeared. Maybe she's under the control of a demon. Maybe she's dead. Oh, let me rethink why we're here. Yeah. Okay. Good on you, Dad, for having that epiphany, I think is the word for that. Yeah. Mainly, to me, this is character development for Wolverine, particularly if you are not familiar with Wolverine.
Yeah.
You have just picked up this miniseries, and that is maybe in total your exposure to Wolverine, because so far, truly, we don't know a whole lot about Wolverine, the character, just based on this miniseries. We've seen him do some things. We've seen him have a need to try to take up for Kitty, get his butt kicked by her, which is something, if you just read this miniseries, if you know anything about their history, that is a profound occurrence that she was able to do that. So, a lot of this, we have several panels of him and Yukio further pushing the character development of Wolverine, because, of course, his relationship with Yukio is at a certain point before this story and then after this story. And Yukio, though, she plays such a profound part in the overall story of the X-Men, far beyond interacting with Wolverine. She interacts with another one of the characters of the X-Men and changes that character forever, to where that change is, to a large extent, still evident now in the way that character acts, not necessarily the way she appears, but the way that character acts. So,
which
Storm.
Oh, okay.
They use Yukio in just a very profound way with that character, and it's not just a story. The character after that point completely changed moving forward to now from what she had been up until that point. So Yukio, though she has spot appearances, is a very, very important character overall in the mythos of the X-Men. A lot of weight for very little visible interaction that we ever see. There are other characters that every 6 months you see pop up in X-Men, of course, like, I don't know, Magneto, let's say, for instance. Now he has changed so much that he is actually, once again, a member of the X-Men. So that's different from Yukio, who has, that would be like her popping in every 5 to 6 months and, let's say, killing a character, completely removing them from the board. Right. But instead she changes the way the character is delivered. But okay. So now we go to the Yoshida residence, in Tokyo, which I guess is where Kitty was headed when she got done with her ghost ninja thing. So she's going, this is Ogun.
Yeah.
He is going, Ogun is going because he wants to involve Mariko in his dealings with Kitty and Wolverine. Because if he can use Mariko, he can leverage Wolverine to bring him Kitty, which is ultimately what he wants. He wants Kitty to be his protege forever moving forward. Kitty has said no. So Ogun realizes, well, I need something to force her hand, because if I can get a hold of her, I will be able to convince her or change her or what have you, just like he did initially. So he doesn't have the leverage. He's already confronted Kitty once and she said, yeah, no, bye-bye. So what else can I do? So I'll get Wolverine, who I also have a history with, according to Wolverine, a very deep history.
Okay.
And I'll get Wolverine, and because I involve Wolverine, Kitty will come along. Either Wolverine won't ask her to help. That's not the way Wolverine works. But they're bonded in such that if something is going on with Wolverine, Kitty will know and she will try to help automatically. So Ogun is on that path, and that path starts with putting pressure on Lady Mariko. So he goes to her Tokyo residence to threaten her, kidnap her, whatever he's ultimately going to do. But he finds out that in the place of Lady Mariko is Kitty. So apparently Kitty assumed this as well, that this is where Ogun would end up at some point. And so she has arranged to take Mariko's place in the residence.
It was really kind of a funny scene when you think about it, because, Ogun sneaks in. There is, he sees who he assumes is Lady Mariko laying in bed, and he's chopping her head.
He's
right
decapitating her. Yeah, he's trying to kill her.
Yeah, so he's making the kaya, as he hits, doing the swipe, is whatever they would call that kind of yell. But as soon as she jumps up as Kitty, the kaya turns into a scream. Ah! So the fact that Ogun just, Ogun the Immortal is what I've seen him listed as, and
he can still be surprised. To this
scream
extent.
I don't want to say scream like a girl, but you know what I mean, like a little kid,
like a child. Yeah, there you go. With the added insult of surprise sucker that she says when she sits up, pops up, whatever, Yeah,
that's a good scene. Surprise sucker.
So now we start a running battle, very literally, between Ogun and Kitty Pryde, that we now, even the way she's dressed and looks and everything, you might not realize that that's her. But the fact that the sword strike did not kill her because she was phasing, that gives away definitely that it's Kitty, even though it might not look like her. Really anywhere else, there's a couple panels where you can kind of see the eye shading, where she did the shadow cat eye, but that's kind of iffy. I mean, if you're not really paying really, really close attention, you're going to miss that too.
Yeah, it helps that, she's narrating it. So
yes, she's POV.
If we didn't have those narration boxes, we might not know who that is until the wig falls off.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And then we see she is looking much more like we remember Kitty, with the short hair, the leggings and boots you see in the scene where she's running at Ogun with the sword, and she starting to look more like the Shadow Cat persona that she took on, rather than this sleeping robed Mariko, which I don't know many people that sleep in bed with a robe on, which is kind of interesting, but okay. Running battle between the two, it's not really going much anywhere because they're so evenly matched, because everything pretty much at this point that Kitty knows as far as the fighting technique that she's employing, Ogun taught her. So it's a case of where I taught you everything you know, but I did not teach you everything I know. So ultimately, he will be able to get the upper hand, even slight though it may be. We see an image here where she's attacking with a sword, and this may be the sword, I guess, that he brought in. Because maybe in all of this, right here, the third panel where it starts, he drops the sword. So in the fight, she picks it up. She's going to attack him with it. But he also, besides carrying the dual swords, apparently he had a couple sai tucked into his outfit somewhere as well. And he brandishes the sai in my understanding of the weaponry in exactly the methodology that it is supposed to be used. That's what those wing spurs are for, is to capture the blade of your opponent. And now shattering the blade like this, I find kind of questionable because Japanese authentically made katanas are supposed to be a little bit more sturdy than that, I thought. Yeah. But that's what he does. At least I was happy to see that the sai is used in a way that I have always read is intended, rather than just the Electra kind of stabby kind of thing, which you could do with knives or whatever. Why a sai? The spurs, the antlers, I don't know the official term of it, on either side are intended to catch the blade in defense. And then, of course, that gives you leverage over the blade to disarm or what have you. Yeah. So he does disarm her. He shatters the sword. She is now at a disadvantage, so she continues to run away defensively, offensively, not necessarily just to run away to get away, but to run away to change the timbre of the fight, what they're doing.
The timbre. Did you say the timbre? The timbre of the fight.
That's a musical phrase.
I feel like the last time I heard somebody say that, that's how it's the timbre of the music.
And I don't know, I might not be able to use it that way, really, but
it sounds right.
I was thinking the way that the fight feels.
Timbre sounds right.
She phases through the wall, and of course, Ogun has to run around the wall to an actual door. So it's kind of funny. It's like she takes a shortcut, and he has to go the long way around to get into the hall. I don't know that it was intended humorously, but I thought it was kind of funny. She's just like, he's like, oh, okay, got to go around. And,
he's probably like, well, shit.
Yeah. Looking for the door. Where's the door? Yeah. So she's waiting for him. Now, okay, I thought she lost the robe earlier, but it's just flapping here when she's running at him. It was her wig that I guess I thought was the robe, but she still has the robe on. He runs out her into the hallway, and she's waiting for him and disrobes, if you will, and throws the robe on him kind of like you would a net or a big blanket or something like that to try to cover him up. Exposing these huge ass
scarf?
Yeah, I was going to say the word is escaping me. The scarf that she has had on and off. All he's got to do is just reach out there and grab one of those and just, So,
I mean, it looks almost like she could trip over them.
Yes. It really does. Yeah. So she kind of has the upper hand. She covers him so he can't see. His movement is restricted. She starts hitting him, slugging him. And so he pulls out the ninja flashbang trick. I don't know, black powder in an eggshell, I've heard it described as is what it actually was back in antiquity. I don't know. It's more like a ninja flashbang grenade is what it is. And by the time that her eyes clear enough for her to see, the robe is there, but Ogun is not. She has no idea where he's gone. She has no idea at this point what to expect. So now she is very much Kitty. She is very much on the defensive. She doesn't know.
And her narration, when she punches him, she throws the robe over and punches him. He's apparently wearing body armor, so she kind of messes up her hand.
Probably like the chainmail kind of stuff that Captain America wears.
Yeah,
kind of like that. And you can see over here in his hand, he's already pulled the little bomb thing, grenade thing, whatever, and he's holding it, getting ready to throw it down. So he's already preparing for that particular maneuver as she tries to slug him. So now is a situation where they're still fighting. Ogun is kind of able to relax because Kitty was on the offensive because he has disappeared. He may or may not know where Kitty is, but he's not too worried about that. She certainly does not know where Ogun is and is concerned about that because she wants to find him to, I would presume, to kill him, probably is what she's after. So she's looking for him. But yet he is speaking and she can hear him. Like the whole apartment or whatever that she's in is bugged, has speakers, and he's talking like, on a microphone, that kind of thing. I would suspect more along the lines of the connection of them almost is on such a spiritual level that he's talking in her head.
Yeah.
Is what it is. Although she says his voice seems to be coming from all over. Now, maybe he's doing this because he's a magician demon kind of thing. He certainly did not have time to wire this apartment to be able to do it physically. So that is not the case. So either they are so much bonded that he is in essence speaking to her soul to soul and she can hear him that way. Or he is doing some sort of magic-y thing that he is just talking and projecting it all over the whole place. I don't think anything really gives away which one in this story.
No, I don't think so.
Now, in a subsequent story in the not part 2, but in the next chapter of Kitty Pryde, Wolverine, Ogun, we find out then, I think Wolverine understands this now, but we find out then that he truly is a demon. And that is how he is able to do the unexplained things that he's able to do because it's supernatural.
Okay.
So, but here, everything is done in this story to make him seem human right up to the edge of what he can do. You know, there's never anything that makes it obvious that it's like, no, it's got to be supernatural. Yeah. Everything that Ogun does is kind of explained in a flesh and blood kind of way for this miniseries. Now, the next one, they go on over the line to the supernatural. But he's talking to her, trying to unnerve Kitty. Okay. Kitty is trying to keep herself centered as she is looking around, trying to track his voice or something. I don't know if he's coming from everywhere, then there's no trail to follow in trying to find where the voice is coming from because it is just in every room. So it's, So finally, she starts to get pretty frustrated. And in getting frustrated, Ogun is finally able to get the drop on her using a bow staff, which I assume that he found in the apartment because certainly in his outfit, he can carry sai, and we don't know. I don't know that he could carry a bow staff and hide it. And, that's, I think that's a bit much.
Yeah. And he tells her beforehand that if she will not serve him, then Wolverine's foster daughter, Akiko, will take her place.
There you go. Further leverage of the Mariko-Akiko relationship, which, Wolverine absolutely would not dig that because from the time that he first ran into Akiko, even up to now, he's got a very, very soft spot from her. Okay. And several bad guys over the years have used her to get to him. So it continues up until today. Okay, so using this bow staff, apparently Kitty and all of her traipsings around stayed solid. He manages to trip her. We see the continuation now of this running fight between the two of them. He armed with the bow staff and she armed with nothing but her ability, which is Ogun given for the most part. Now, she has learned some things being an X-Men and learned some things from Wolverine, but the majority of her training at this point, particularly making her Shadow Cat, was from Ogun.
And the narration here tells us that because that first panel here, he jabs at her with the bow staff. She rolls out of the way. He says, "Splendid! I could not have executed that evasion better myself." And so her narration is basically saying, most of my ninja combat abilities came from the psychic template of himself, Ogun, imposed on me. They're pretty much gone now. So any ninja, she's losing her ninjas, ninja skills.
I guess you could say the ninja go, right?
She did not go ninja, go.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Bad joke.
Ninja's going away.
Yes.
The Comic Book Super Show will return after these messages.
An heroic legacy beginning in 1941 that spans time, space, and the whole of the multiverse. Journey along with the Knights of the Stars. Ted, David, and Jack. They, along with Will Payton, Michael Thomas, Prince Gavin, Tom Kalor, and Courtney Whitmore. They take the mantle of Starman and continue his legacy. I invite you to listen as I journey through these adventures of all these heroes and the rest of the Starman family here on Opal City Confidential, a Starman podcast, coming February 2023.
Do you love podcasting but hate editing? Do you have a number of episodes recorded but just can't find the time to get them edited and ready for release? Do you need help and you're not sure what to do? Well, come talk to me. My name is Steven Orr. I have over a decade of experience recording and editing my own podcasts, and I want to put those skills to work for you. I can remove that background noise. I can reduce silences. I'll remove all of your ums and your uhs, as well as your throat clearings, sneezes, and coughs and such. And I can even add your music and whatnot. And hey, my prices are quite reasonable. Check out edityourpod.com to get started. That's edityourpod.com, or just reach out to me directly. Email edityourpod@gmail.com. Tell me what you need, and I'll tell you how I can help. And more importantly, I'll quote you a cost. edityourpod.com. Get started today. And now back to the Comic Book Super Show.
So she, she kicks the Bostaph out of his hand, so he responds with a series of throwing stars, which I kind of have an issue with. I've probably spoken about that before. I don't believe originally the intent of this particular weapon was to be thrown, the stars. I believe it was more the concept was to be held with the spikes between the fingers and used in a hand-to-hand. But somewhere in popular culture, they were thrown, and so they've always been thrown in movies, TV, whatever. I don't think that was originally how they were done. I could be wrong, but I believe I have run across the fact that, maybe that's an exaggeration of how they were used. Nowadays, I don't know. If you study ninjutsu, if anybody out there studies the arts, is this a weapon, and the weapon, is this how you're taught to use the weapon when you actually study ninjutsu? I don't know. But catches her off guard. She is able to phase to allow the stars to phase through for the most part, but it was so close that she flinched at the stars. And so it was very, very last second that she was able to phase. But apparently it doesn't look like it did any damage. She phased in time, although maybe she even suspected that she wasn't going to be able to do it in time. She drops down. She's not, I think she's okay here so far. She's talking to herself and thinking about fighting this master ninja, pseudo demon kind of creature, and how it's getting more and more difficult because those aspects of her that he, like you said, Stephen, imprinted on her, she has lost or no longer has access to, or what have you. Curiously enough, though, this persona of Shadowcat and her ability to fight from here carries forward in the story. So, I mean, in her story. So if she loses this ability, then how she is able to maintain this persona moving forward without that fighting ability, I don't know, because she always seems to have that fighting ability, so it's like, well, yeah. In the midst of everything, she hears a scream, and she realizes, oh no, he has finally gotten to Mariko and Akiko, who are here, but they were just somewhere else while she was hiding in Mariko's bed, because they figured that would be the first place that Ogun would look for Mariko, would be in the bed. So she goes to where she knows. Now, Ogun doesn't know necessarily at this point yet where Mariko and Akiko are hiding. Kitty does. Kitty hears the scream. It's Mariko. Oh no, I got to go see what's wrong. Ogun must have found her. Kitty phases through however many floors, however many rooms we see, whatever. Phases into the room where Mariko and Akiko are, and then they're in there alone. And she realizes, oh shit, I was decoyed. Yep. And then through the window jumps Ogun, having tracked Kitty to see where she went. And he jumps in and unleashes myriad throwing stars, just like you would a machine gun. Just throws them everywhere, trying to hit somebody. And Kitty is helping Mariko and Akiko hide behind some furniture. But Kitty gets hit by one of the throwing stars. And I immediately knew what this meant. I've seen too many things like this, and so I knew immediately what had happened. Now I'm waiting for the narration to tell me that it has happened. So she helps Mariko and Akiko phase through into another room where they're separated enough that she tells the two females to go, either run and hide somewhere or get out of the building or just go as far away and as fast as you can. So she's doing that old thing. You run. Oh, go hide. I'll hold them off as long as I can. And, so that's what Kitty's doing. Maybe even in that voice. I don't know.
Maybe.
But yeah, I mean, she could really be feeling bad. I don't know. So Ogun catches up with her and attacks her by tackling her through a large plate glass window. So he has thrown her and himself outside the building, presumably to fall to someone's death, right? They're up in a multi-story building. We don't know how far. But no, that cool little contraption that window washers raise on buildings to wash windows happens to be right outside the window that they go through. So they land on it. That's kind of iffy description. It breaks their fall. So the two of them can continue some hand-to-hand fisticuffs, though now suspended however high on this small trolley that the window washers use. Kitty is giving it a go, but it's just not working. Between the fact that she has lost those abilities and the fact that, which it still hasn't told us, but...
Oh, it did on the previous page. Right.
Did it actually tell us?
Right. That panel right there.
Oh, yeah. Well, he says, Ogun tells her, be not afraid to say, well, no, she's feeling at the panel above. She sniffs it. And so I'm like, really? You sniffed the poison with the drug? Well, okay. So she's feeling it, sniffs at the star, and is like, oh, it is tainted. And then he tells her it's merely to prevent any further phasing. So it probably anesthetizes her enough or makes her just high enough or whichever that she just can't concentrate enough to phase anymore. So she's running that Ogun high and she can't phase. So all she's got is her martial abilities, which maybe according to her, but definitely according to Ogun, are not the equivalent to his. So basically, I know you know shit, that's fine, but you don't know the shit I know. And she's trying, and he is probably toying with her at this point because he knows that she can't outfight him. He could continue just to beat her if he wanted to, and she wouldn't be able to defend him. But somehow in their fighting, they trigger the release of the quote-unquote elevator, and it pulls them up to the top of the building. She escapes Ogun jumping onto the roof of the building. He pursues her, still running fight. You get fighty, and he's basically, I pictured, he tells her to yield in this one panel, but I would envision it more strike, have you had enough? Yeah. Strike again, have you had enough? Strike again, so it's going back and forth where he's punishing her in essence, but he doesn't want to finish her, because he wants to give her the chance to turn herself back over to him. So he's beating her, asking her, back and forth until they get back towards the edge of the building where, another push or two, and he would just be able to push her off the building. And at this point, I guess she would fall all the way down without having that window washer thing to save her. And we have the final confrontation here. She won't yield. Several panels of a very scary Ogun, drawn as only Mignola could draw. It is a very intense series of panels.
Milgrom.
I
wish it was Mignola. That'd be pretty sweet.
Milgrom. He pulls his other sword, the katana he left downstairs. So this would be, I would presume, his wakizashi, his Japanese short sword. And he's about to, deliver the telling blow. And this is an imposing Wolverine we see, but it is far from the best drawn one. This is such an awesome opportunity to really draw Wolverine well. But the save of her dying at Ogun's blade is Wolverine finally showing up saying, I wouldn't do that, bub, if I were you. Now, Wolverine is backed by a huge full moon, so we are as close to the moon as we have ever been in the history of the Earth because it is very large. He is standing there in his brown and tan outfit, arms held akimbo in front of him, cigarette smoking, drifting into the air, standing on the ledge of the building. You know how you've got the lower portion that people actually on, and then you have a 2 or 3 foot built up ledge, all the way around the building. He's standing on top of that and turning. Well, actually, he has positioned himself in such a way that he is in front of Ogun, as Ogun is focused on the kneeling Kitty in front of him, in front of that wall, about to deliver the death stroke. So she's here, crying, for mercy, as it were. She's retracted and her hands are up, and Ogun is standing over her, about to deliver the slash. But 2 or 3 feet away, 2 or 3 feet up on the edge of the ledge, is this Wolverine saying, "I wouldn't do that, bub, if I were you." The blade is glinting. We have a lens flare off of the wakizashi here, and Ogun, you can't really tell if he's looking up at Wolverine. He's probably still focused on Kitty and then Wolverine. So this is the moment right before Ogun realizes that Wolverine is there. And excellent way to end this in preparation for the next issue. This is definitely page turn, book turn, even series turn. If this was the end of this miniseries and they're going to do another one, this is where you end it to get people to read the next issue.
Yeah, I remember hitting this page the first time when I was a kid and going, "Oh, this is going to be awesome! I don't want to have to wait a whole month."
Yeah,
you know.
But yeah, the first time really in this miniseries that I thought the art was a little bit of a letdown was just this panel. I don't know if it is just his artwork in general. Maybe he didn't have as much time to spend on this one as he did other panel. I don't know, but it just it's lacking.
I would assume that he drew the book in order, the issue in order, right? Sure. And so this was the last thing he drew, and maybe he was running, close to the deadline. But I think in retrospect, he should have done this page first. I think this is a very important page. And if you're going to turn a page to finally see Wolverine getting ready to throw down with the big bad, Wolverine's got to look better than this.
Yeah,
he just has
to. Yeah.
So, yeah. But this was a time when they firmly believed in you get this. These books have to go out on time. We don't delay our book.
Jim Shooter. He was.
I mean, this is the same. Jim Shooter is the same guy that in the middle of Secret Wars. Mm-hmm. Al Milgrom. It was either Al Milgrom or Bob Layton. I think it was Bob Layton came in and did a couple of issues because Mike Zeck wasn't fast enough. And for me, I like Bob Layton, but it's still it's a quite the departure from the one issue to the other when it comes to the art.
Very different. And also, this is a time, particularly in Marvel, when artists weren't necessarily revered as much as they are nowadays for their work on comic books. This was still very much a character story driven media or medium, I guess, comic books at this time. So the story always was given more than enough time such that you had to take it away from potentially the artwork, inking, coloring, what have you. So and I think you talked to a lot of the creators at this time, and there generally was a feeling that, the artists may be known, and there may be people that like the artists, but the writers are what drive the comic books. People come for the writing, and so, but the anatomy is just off. One side of his body looks, the face, it's just having been able to spend, I think, the appropriate amount of time getting this artwork exactly where he wanted it. This would have been a much better panel. And it's not strictly the composition. I like the composition. The buildings behind, there's plenty of area filled in there. Ogun, I don't see anything off with Ogun or Kitty. She's even got the darkened makeup for the Shadowcat character. The colorization is the colorization on Wolverine, but as you go up from his feet, it's almost like time ran out as you go from his feet up to, it's like, the waist to the top of the head. I only had 2 hours to finish that. So I had to, So hairy Wolverine though. Boy, he's hairy.
Oh yeah. He's a fuzzy guy.
He is, man. All right, well, there we go. Good stuff. Good book. Excellent progression of the story, I think. Definitely looking forward to the next issue. Maybe kind of disappointed that it also is the last issue.
Yeah.
But, they have to finish it up at some point. Minus Ogun, because you couldn't continue that on, just the story with Ogun. I definitely would have liked to have seen, moving forward, more of the Wolverine, Kitty Pryde, Tokyo, Mariko, Yukio, Akiko, that whole carried on, like transitioning this into a series of its own.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Should we talk about the ads?
Yes.
All right. Our first ad is for the GoBots. It's our first GoBot ad in this series. Did you own any GoBots? Were you a GoBot guy?
They were the unfortunate step person of the robots compared to the
Transformers.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, there are people that love these, and some that I follow on Twitter are all the time. I'm like, no, dog.
Yeah.
There is no.
I want all new Guardians to rush.
Prepare to battle the Renegade.
And so a new renegade army led by Hornet and Gunner comes face to face with Fred, Mr. Moto, and a new force of Guardians. Now the fun begins. Will evil rule the day? Will justice triumph? You fat up! GoBots, each sold separately, new from Tonga.
The space shuttle robot there, I had him.
Okay.
But, and I think my brother or a neighbor may have had the motorcycle guy, but yeah.
No. I mean, if you're going to do these transforming robots, just go for the Transformers. They are the, yeah.
Yeah, I had a number of Transformers, but that was that GoBot, because I don't remember really being into GoBots. That could have been something that my mom or dad was at a Sears or something and went, hey, look, a little robot, I'll get that for, so.
And for those of you that can't see this ad, this is also for the monogram models for the GoBots, not the little die-cast figures that they have.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, the monogram models.
Here's something I didn't know, even though we owned that space shuttle. And it was a little die-cast metal Transformer guy. According to this ad, that robot's name is Spay-C. SPAY-C.
Okay. There you go.
Pretty dumb.
Pretty, what? What did you say?
Pretty dumb.
Dumb. Oh, okay.
Dumb.
Okay.
We got another Fig / Apple Newton's maze. I think we've had one in every other issue, maybe so far.
I think so. Yep.
Fruit Chewy, Fig Newtons. Fruit Chewy, Fig Newtons. Cookie on the outside, fruity on the inside. When they get together, ooh, what a nice bite.
And now, Fruit Chewy Nabisco Apple Bars with chunks of real apple.
Apple cookie-licious.
Nabisco Apple Bars. There.
Fruit Chewy. Nabisco.
You don't see, maybe I don't look in the right place, but I don't see Fig Newtons like at the store like I once did.
Oh, yeah, they got them.
Okay, yeah, I don't seem to run across them.
Karen really likes them, so every once in a while we'll get...
Okay,
we get the generic Kroger brand usually, but...
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine necessarily that there are huge differences in brand to brand. I mean, it's crust and fig filling. Yeah. So
yeah. And here's our Star Comics ad with where you can subscribe for $6.50 to get a year of one title.
Now, at one time, back in the recesses of your memory, were you going to do a licensed character Marvel show? Because I remember you asking, and I felt bad because I pointed to Star Comics, and then the more I looked at Star Comics, the more that list grew of the characters that were, and I was like, oh man, that's just, okay.
Yeah, I thought about it at one point, because I'm thinking, ROM, Micronaut, Star Wars,
Tarzan,
Shogun
Conan,
Warriors. Yeah.
If you're looking for adventure this summer, escape with Marvel Comics. Fight crime with Spider-Man. Meet the Fantastic Four and watch Captain America in action. May the Force be with you as you battle the evil empire in Star Wars. Discover the secrets of the South American jungle in Raiders of the Lost Ark. And with Marvel Comics, you're never alone because they can go with you in the car or to the park, even on a rainy day. Marvel Comics are your ticket to fun and adventure this summer.
But yeah, I was like, maybe check into Star Comics too, because and I think just about everything in Star Comics was licensed. I don't think any of those were original Marvel characters.
Yeah.
And this is what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. On this, by the time Star Comics was done, there were 40 or 50 characters. I mean, they just blew up throwing stuff under the Star Comics banner. And this is kind of where they started with these. But yeah, there were many, many more than this.
It looks like you got 16 issues for just $6.50.
Almost a year and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess,
Strawberry Shortcake, Planet Terry, Wally the Wizard, Heathcliff, the Get Along Gang, Ewoks, and Fraggle Rock. That was, I guess, their initial offerings. I don't remember. I don't remember Planet Terry. Sounds familiar. I don't remember Wally the Wizard or Get Along Gang.
The Get Along Gang, I think, was a cartoon.
Yeah.
Before the Star Comics thing.
It's the Get Along Gang. It's the gang that's going. It's the Get Along Gang. And the fun is always showing. Get along, get along, get along.
Did you get all that?
Introducing Montgomery Good News Moose, skating plush from the Get Along Gang.
You can play your Montgomery Moose. Here's your bacon on the move.
How do you know Montgomery's been lifting weights? How? Look at his muscles!
Montgomery Good News Moose skating plush from the Get Along Gang. New from Tommy.
That actually starting to feel familiar for some reason. Mile High Comics ad with
let's see here.
Visited them a couple months ago.
Avengers. We go back to what is 50? What is it? 57? Yeah, 57 of it. I would love to be able to get 57 for $10.
Yeah,
yeah, because
that was a lot of money back then.
When I see it on eBay now, you're looking at $250, $350, something like that, because that's the first appearance of the Vision.
Oh, okay, yeah, all right. If anybody's interested, I talk about that on an episode of Just Another Fanboy. And then I have a 5-minute long blooper reel where I try to say a particular word and it never comes out. It was in that episode. I don't want to say the word. I don't want to try. Wow, Mile High got 2 pages.
2 pages.
Of ad space.
I wonder if this was in the very middle of the book.
Probably
and it was the middle spread. Because let's see, do they have X-Men? Let's see, yeah, X-Men. Let's see what the X-Men are going for. 94. The first new X-Men was already up to $60 then. Dang. So they knew that it was hot already.
Yeah.
Giant Size 1, which would be the very first appearance, was up to $50. So if you missed those out to get the first 2 appearances of the new X-Men, that cost you over $100, man. That was way a lot of money back then.
Well, and at this time, according to this ad, Mile High Comics had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 locations.
Mm-hmm. I think they've retracted a bit.
But it looks like they were under different names. Fantasy Works, All in a Dream, Time Warp, Amazing Worlds, and Top Notch Comics. Yeah, they're down to just the one.
And these are all Denver. Colorado stores. Eventually, they had a California store too, didn't they? Did they have something? I thought they had something in California also at one point.
I don't remember.
But yeah. Now they're all of this stuff has been retracted into just one huge giant mega store.
One giant store. And you walk into that store and it's so big, but then there's like one whole area you can't even go to because it's just row after row of shelves with graphic novels on it. It's like their back room, but you can see them. Mm-hmm. You can go, ooh. So yeah, it's neat.
Stock, probably their back stock.
Yeah. We have a PSA on sexual abuse from Power Pack and The Amazing Spider-Man. I remember seeing this all the time back then. Looks like we have some Marvel conventions, or at least Marvel showing up at different conventions or whatnot.
None of these have necessarily like names, like they're their own convention or anything. It doesn't look like.
Yep. Says you're invited to attend any of these fantastic upcoming comic conventions. You'll meet Marvel artists, writers, and editors. Yeah. And then below that, on the same page, are the Marvel Supermart. So other places you can get back issues of Marvel Comics. We got one of those pages with just all these almost like a classified ads, just the places that just can only afford to get a little bit of space there. We got the Thor guy, Marvel Comics price list guy. We see him all the time. Moondance Enterprises. I remember that, the Spider-Man thing there, but yeah. Semi-precious gems. We got the Knuckle Buckle again.
Yep. Brass knuckles. I guess the same people that read comic books are interested in brass knuckles, I guess, is what the takeaway is there. Yeah.
There's a mental survival kit. Hocus Pocus. Self-taught self-hypnosis.
Okay.
And then just something that just says space toys. And only space toys.
Yep.
That's still pretty broad. Space toys.
Rocket ships and accessories. So apparently that's all they do. Rocket ships and accessories.
Funny. Golden State Comics has an ad here. All right. We got a bullpen bulletins featuring Gru, the Wanderer.
Mm-hmm. I guess looks like he just started too. Yeah. So probably the Epic line is just getting started, and Gru is that's the first issue of Gru that's advertised.
Yeah.
Look at those books down there. This is, in my mind, the golden age of Marvel Comics through the 80s up through maybe the mid 90s. But this is just these are the characters that people nowadays are crying about getting reprints. Right?
Yeah.
You see Rom, you see Micronauts, Power Pack is there. You've got Conan. He's being, there's an actual Red Sonja book. Here, you were asking about New Mutants. This is advertising number 25. So the New Mutants have been running about 2 years at this point. And what are the X-Men up to? Are they on here? 191. Okay. I was thinking the mid 180s because there was a reference to it. So we're closing in on issue 200, which is I believe 200 was the trial of Magneto the first time. So then you've got the Epic, which is something that Marvel just recently started, and we will learn more about that here shortly to some extent. But that was Marvel's attempt to elicit and produce indie feeling stories. So a lot of the hotter indie artists, indie creators, and also their own creators that they wanted to give that outlet to keep them from going out there on their own and doing it. They created Epic, a little edgier, a little more adult, a little bit more out there as far as the what was portrayed in the stories.
Yeah.
And that's what Epic Comics was all about.
Yeah, they also used it for a couple of licensed properties, ElfQuest and Akira.
Yeah.
But this month, according to our checklist, we got the G.I. Joe yearbook number 1.
Okay.
So, all right. What do we got next here? We got our subscription page.
Yep.
Still got Iron Man in his iron Santa suit.
Not as good a deal as you were getting on the Star Comics, though, right?
Hell no.
You got
that's
16.
Right.
Well, it was a little bit more, wasn't it? This is $550 for 13.
Yeah.
Star Comics was 16 for $640 or something like that.
$650.
Yeah. So, well, still, for an extra $1, you got 3 more books. That's pretty daggone good.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Then we have an ad for a Indiana Jones role-playing game from TSR.
Challenge your imagination to come alive and to battle with the creatures of Dungeons and Dragons. Grapple against the forces of evil as a Marvel Comics superhero. Hunt adventure and glory as Indiana Jones. The all-new role-playing games of TSR and Dungeons and Dragons. Unleash the power of your imagination.
I remember they made that only because of the ad.
Yeah. I never played that.
My brother was a huge role-playing guy, but this was one he didn't get.
Does he still role-play now?
I don't think so, no. And then we have our ad for Risk.
History records the conquests of such great strategists as Alexander, Caesar, Napoleon. But what of Dave Johnson, who in less than one evening strategically maneuvered his armies from Africa, imperiled Europe, and established a foothold in Asia?
Ha! I'm taking Mongolia.
35 more armies.
Will nothing stop this man?
Risk, Parker Brothers' game of strategy and conquest.
Who says there are no more worlds to conquer?
Which growing up I used to play the hell out of.
I've never played.
Oh, it was really cool.
All right. Anything else you want to say about this issue, the penultimate, before the big showdown?
No, I don't think so. I think I've gotten everything off my chest.
Then I will close it down. In our next episode, Ogun, the immortal samurai, wants Kitty back, and Wolverine pulls out all the stops to save her. That's next month in episode number 6 when Ed and I take a look at Kitty Pryde and Wolverine number 6, Honor. So until next time, folks. Actually, before I say that, one other thing we'll be doing next month after we talk about Wolverine, Kitty Pryde and Wolverine number 6, is announcing which series we're going to look at next. So we're not going to tell you today, though.
No, not today. That way you have to go. Just like that cool page turn with Wolverine, we're going to tell you what to talk about, what we'll talk about next time. That's right. Yeah.
So until next time, folks, I'm Steven. That's Ed. And this was the Comic Book Super Show. Thanks for listening.
Ciao.
Ciao. We want to thank you for listening to this episode of the Comic Book Super Show. Questions and comments can be directed to the Comic Book Super Show at somanypodcasts.com. If you enjoyed the show, you can help to boost our presence online by leaving a rating or review on your favorite podcast app. I also invite you to join our subscription program, Steven or Else Beyond. And in return, you'll get episodes of the Comic Book Super Show early and ad-free. Check out the link in the show notes, or just go to beyond.stevenorelse.com to sign up today. The Comic Book Super Show is a presentation of Steven or Else Media. For more nerdy content just like this, check out somanypodcasts.com. All links will be in the show notes.
I just don't think I can move through life knowing that a guy named Steven did this to me.
How could you let this happen, Steven?
Steven! Thank God. I had a horrible feeling I was going to be the only one here.
Want a piece of fruit?
Am I Team Edward? Yes.